Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to discuss about what is session initiation protocol, and also we'll look into some of the SIP call flows and as well the PowerShell, some of the PowerShell commands. I'm sorry, I have voice quality issue in my own voice, so I hope you guys will excuse for that. Anyway, so let's get into the SIP communication. What is basically SIP? How the SIP ladder diagram looks like. We have seen all those ladder diagrams or all those SIP call flows for the previous SBCs. But there are a few more things which we need to understand in the SIP. That's where this particular session is designed. We don't have any practical sessions today. It's purely on the explanations or theory explanation about the SIP. So basically, SIP is used for, it's a peer-to-peer communication standard. And if you think about the OSI layer, don't ask me what is OSI layer. In the OSI layer, it works on the application layer. Most of the people will say it's on the session layer, but it's not on the session layer. It works on an application layer. Then, as we have seen, it works on TCP or UDP 5060 port number, and it's another commonly asked interview question. SIP is a TCP communication or a UDP? We have seen that as well, right? In most of the SBC, we're gonna enable 5060 for TCP as well as UDP. So it works on both TCP as well as UDP. And if it is TLS, the default port number will be 5061. Always customizable. You can change this port number into anything else, whatever you want, but these are the default port numbers. And it is developed by IETF, Internet Engineering Task Force. It's an organization standard. They develop all these protocol, how the protocol works. They standardize the protocol. That's an organization. They have actually developed SIP as an alternative for H323. When you guys ask me what is H323, that's also another type of protocol used for VoIP communication when two systems are integrated together. If you wanted to connect both of them, we initially, back in the day, we used H323 protocol. Then later we migrated everything into SIP. Now we don't see much H323 communication. Most of the places we replace with a SIP, session initiation protocol. And also in SIP, we have something called session description protocol. It's not actually a protocol, though it is called as protocol. It's not a protocol. It's a portion of a SIP message that talks about what kind of media and what type of port numbers I should support, or basically the media capabilities. Say for example, I am talking to somebody else. I will be exchanging my capabilities, like which language I speak, what is my volume level, what is my port number, all those information will be exchanged using a section called session description protocol. I'm going to show you a SIP message now. In that you will see where is the SDP coming into picture. So it's not a protocol, it's a portion of a SIP message that talks about the media capabilities. And then it is today's ITSP's language. ITSP means Internet Telephony Service Provider. Like any service provider, they talks about the telecommunication, right? For example, Teleo or any other AT&T, Verizon, all those telephony providers, they globally support SIP. That is their universal communication protocol. And moving forward, they'll be continued to be supported. Most of the components or most of the telecom systems, they are moving towards SIP-based communication. But there is a small change over there in the Microsoft Teams. The Teams architecture is not based out of SIP. It is based out of their own respective APIs. For example, if a user calls from Teams application to another Teams application, there is no SIP communication happening there. It is purely on the web-based API calls. So there is a guy sitting over there. It can translate the HTTP request into SIP communication. That's where we are integrating our SBCs and other thing. If I think about this way, this is user 1 in, let's call our favorite user, Tom Cruise. And here I have another user called Will Smith. They are in Teams. If they are talking each other, if Tom Cruise is calling Will Smith, it is not SIP, it is purely on the HTTP API. It's proprietary to MS Teams itself, Microsoft API they are using to make that calls. But when we think about calling an external user, like I wanted to dial a mobile number, That's the time we are integrating our SBC there, right? So when it comes to SBC, this SBC will be talking to Microsoft Teams. So within the Teams inside, they have somebody. I don't exactly remember what kind of server it is. There is a server. It can translate this SIP into their native API calls. So that guy will translate our SIP message, whatever SIP message we send to the Microsoft Teams. It's a hidden server. It is not exposed to public. They translate that SIP messages to the API, and then we can extend the call, SIP calls to the users this way. So in this case, when you're integrating anything to Microsoft Teams rather than the native items like Teams applications, the native software itself, right? Anything else towards Microsoft Teams, like you're integrating your PBX, your call manager, or any other SPC, we commonly use this protocol called SIP, and Microsoft Teams only supports SIP, no other communication protocol like H323, MGCP, nothing, only SIP. So that's the importance of SIP. Almost all ITSP telecom providers, they support SIP. That's how it is. So it's a small description about SIP. Now we'll see few of the call flows. Any other questions, guys? I don't think there is any questions here. We'll go and see one of the call flows. Again, this is by the way, yeah, I'll come to that. This is again an interview question. Any voice related interview if you're attending, they'll be 100% sure that the guys will be asking about SIP call flows. There are basically three call flows in the theory side, right? You will see a lot of changes in the practical when you start collecting the logs. We'll do that today again. So there is a call flow called early offer call flow, then delayed offer call flow, and early media call flow. These are the three things which we usually see in the interviews. And I have diagrams for each and everything, and you guys can go through it. So first, let's take an call itself, like a Teams user is calling a PSTN mobile number. The same scenario, right? We have done multiple times. A Teams user through SBC is calling a PSTN user. The first message which the Microsoft Teams sends to the SBC is called invite message. We'll see the content of invite later. I'll open an invite message and I'll show you. Imagine that's an invite message, and the moment the SBC receives the invite, they will send a message saying that under trying. This is again theoretically true, but most of the times, sometimes you don't even see 100 trying, but you will see some messages in the 1XX series. And there are two things in SIP. One is called request and response. Request means the invites and acknowledgement, then by, all these messages are request. The numbers like 100 trying, 180 ringing, 200 okay, all these things are responses. Again, we'll go deep into that, what is request and responses. So I send an invite request, then I get immediately 1XX series message. It might, most of the time, like 90% of the time, it will be 100 trying. Otherwise, I'll get something else, session progress or whatever. So that's how the SIP is designed. If the other party is sending anything like 1XX, it is okay. Rather than 100 trying, it can send 183 session progress depending on the scenario. So theoretically, you can study this way, but when you actually go and collect messages, don't catch me for that. You might see some other messages extra in that. So that is still okay. You will have to understand that, and you know how to generate the ladder diagram and go through those messages. We'll do that one more time today. Anyway, so invite under trying. Then the SBC gonna extend that invite to the remote side or the PSTN side. So that's where you see this particular invite going out to the carrier. And if you notice here, I have a small entity here called SDP, session description protocol. So in this session description protocol, I'll say, or when I say it is Microsoft Teams. They will say, these are the protocol, these are the codec I support, this is my audio port number, this is all my capabilities. All those information will be exchanged in the initial invite itself. That's why we call it as early offer. So that means in the first invite itself, I am sending my capabilities, and remote guys will receive it in the first invite itself. This type of call flow is called early offer call flow. So in early offer, I will always see the invite is shared in the The SDP is shared in the initial invite itself. Then of course the other party will be sending 100 trying message to me. Then at this point, the remote destination or the remote phone will be ringing. So when it rings, I need to get the ring back sound, right? So they are exchanged using 180 ringing message. So when the phone is ringing, the provider will be sending a 180 ringing message. That 180 ringing will be forwarded towards my team side so that the teams will hear that ring back sound, that sound. Then when they connect or the user picks up the call, they will send a 200 OK message, and the 200 OK message also contains the remote side SDP. So the Microsoft Teams SDP I have shared over here. The other party or the PSTN side SDP will be shared over here in this SDP. So SDP is always an offer answer method. This is an offer, this is an answer. So I offer all my capabilities, other guys will pick something which is common and then send me a response. In that I will get the answer. When I negotiate on something, okay, this is what we commonly agree. For example, the team saying, I support Silk codec, G711 codec, G729 codec, 3 codec I'm supporting from my side. And the TLU will say, okay, we support only G711. We do have other capabilities, but within the offer, we support only G711. So that they send the G711 back in the SDP. Then they negotiate on that. That's where we say, okay, let us agree on G711 for the communication. So this type, SBC getting that 200 OK and SDP, and that SBC sends that back to the Microsoft Team side SDP. So the Microsoft team understood I offered this and I got this. So in the offer and answer, we understand, okay, what is my port number and codec to be used, what is PSTN side port number and codec to be used. So all those informations are okay. So until this point, in SIP language, we call it as transaction. So this is a transaction 1. Let's see, one second. So this is the transaction 1, and there is a parameter over here in the SIP called C sequence. Again, I'll show you a SIP message, we'll open it. That C sequence number will be unique in this transaction. So you can understand, okay, this is actually for that particular message. Or if I send an invite, there will be a value called C sequence equal to 1. Then that C sequence equal to 1 will be unique for the entire transaction. And this is the transaction in the team side. Sorry, Tilio side. This is one transaction. And this is one transaction. Again, there is no much relevance in that transaction, but still you need to understand what is a transaction. Sometimes they may ask. So invite, 100 trying, 180 ringing, 200 okay. Till that point, we call it as a transaction. So we completed that. During the first transaction, we understood what is the remote destination IP, what is my IP, what is the remote destination protocol and RDP, media protocol, media codecs, what is my media codec. So they exchange everything. Once I receive the 200 OK, 200 OK will be acknowledged using ACK message, and this ACK will be forwarded to the remote side. So this particular ACK will have a different C sequence number. From there you can understand, sorry, excuse me, that's a different transaction. Okay, again, no much relevance for the transaction, you can ignore that part. Since it's a theoretical question usually asked by the interviewers, I just picked up. So ACK will be the message for the, means acknowledgement for the initial invite. So you send an invite, you finally send an ACK. At this point, it's like a proper media setup. They will establish RDP between these two entities and these two entities. RTP will be always bidirectional. That means you are sending an RTP stream to the remote side and they are sending another RTP stream back to you. So there'll be two arrows. I can either draw like this. Okay. So there'll be one side communication towards the SBC and SBC will be returning that. And all our media will be terminated on the SBC in this case, right? If you open any of the SIP messages, we can see all my media capabilities will be with the IP address of our SBC. That means I am terminating the media on the SBC and re-establishing it. and I can see the active calls on the SBC. There is also one more concept called media bypass in SBC. So media bypass means I won't be terminating this in here in the SBC. When the call actually started happening, I won't terminate the call here. It'll be only a single RTP media stream in both ends because I'm getting the IP and media from here, I'm getting from here. But in our case, it is terminated on the SBC. We will see that. To enable that bidirectional thing, you will have to do some additional configuration that will bypass the SBC when the calls are happening. Okay, when the RTP is established, it will bypass the SBC. Now let's move on. At this point, we have the call. Now imagine you completed the call, you discussed everything, and finally you are disconnecting the call. In this case, I'm assuming that the Teams user is disconnecting the call. So whoever is disconnecting the call, they will send a bye message, which is this, and the bye will be getting forwarded to the remote side. And when the session is terminated for the bye, the other side will send a 200 OK back, and this will be sent back to uh, the originator. So at this point, a media is terminated. So with this section, we are setting up the call, and with this section, we are tear downing the call. So end SIP messages are used for the proper communication. And the important thing here is about this SDP, guys. So sending the SDP on the initial invite, which is called early offer. So when I send this way, my invite will contain SDP, 200 OK will contain the answer. This is offer SDP. This is answer SDP. Is it clear, guys?
Question.
Yes.
Yes, 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 CH.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question, Abdul. What happened when we receive 183 session progress with SDP? It contains also capabilities?
Yeah, that's my third scenario. We'll cover that.
Okay, thank you.
Now let's go and see the delayed offer call flow. We'll go through a SIP message, I think. We'll see this, yeah. So delayed offer is also another type of call flow. Again, depending on the system when you set up, there will be configurations for setting up early offer or delayed offer. So delayed offer means if your carrier is saying, okay, we don't need an early offer setup, we need a delayed offer. In that case, everything will be the same except the SDP portion. So here, we're only sending an invite. There is no SDP in that. Of course, you got 100 trying. That invite is forwarded to Telio. You got 100 trying back. Then 180 ringing. 180 ringing. Till this point, no changes. In the 200 OK, remote side is sharing their SDP first. Like I am not negotiating the SDP. I'm not participating the initial time. I am waiting for the remote side to send their capabilities. I will wait for some time. Then remote side will say, okay, these are my capabilities. So they're going to send that on the initial 200 OK, the first 200 OK message. Then I get that 200 OK here, and that I see, okay, this is the SDP. So this is the remote offer, right? Remote destinations offer SDP. SDP is also always like an offer and answer. So offer SDP will be there, the 200 OK. And in the acknowledgement message, I'll be sending the response back. I'll say, okay, so I understood your capabilities. These are my capabilities, which is there in the acknowledgement message. So if the SDP is exchanged between 200 OK and ACK, this is called delayed offer call flow. Here also I'll understand both sides, right? I can understand the remote side first, then I will share mine. That is a delayed offer. If I am sharing mine and waiting for the remote side, that is called early offer. That's the only difference. So you will see those SDP will be on the 200 OK and acknowledgement messages. This is called delayed offer. Rest of the things are the same way. You establish end-to-end media. Then if any party is disconnecting, there will be a bye.
Hello, AJ.
Yeah.
Can you repeat once again for delay offer and early offer? What is the difference between that?
Yeah. So early offer means in the initial invite, you also send the SDP. That's the only difference. Okay. Delayed offer means you don't share your SDP first. You wait for the remote side to share their SDP first, which is this. So you are waiting till here. They are sending their SDP on the 200 OK, and you got that SDP here. Then in the acknowledgement message, you are sending the SDP. So if
Okay, got it.
if the SDP is shared, In 200 OK and ACK, this is called delayed offer. If the SDP is shared in the invite and 200 OK, invite and 200 OK, that is called early offer. So let's go back to the early offer. Here you can see, here you are sharing the SDP, answer will be on the 200 OK. In the delayed offer, you are not sharing any SDP in the initial time, you wait for the remote side to share the SDP. So in the 200 OK, you are receiving the SDP, which is the offer SDP, and answer will be on the 200 acknowledgement message. This is the only difference. The rest of the thing will be the same. Now there is one more guy called early media. I was trying to get some logs for early media, but I was unable to. So early media comes in what scenario? For example, you have a caller tune configured. So when somebody calls you, instead of your media, first you will hear some announcement saying that, or not announcement, some kind of music. So music is also a type of media, right? Of course, it's a media. Or if the party is switched off, I can switch off my phone, and when Teams user calls, it will say this number does not exist or this number is switched off. So that this number is switched off, that greetings or the message that comes from the provider, it's also a media, right? But actually your call is not established there. Then how do we exchange that media? So there is a media before the actual media. Let us take an example of the same thing. When I am calling someone, his phone is having a caller tune. Like when I call, I'll get a music or something. I just hear the music, disconnect the call. Will I get charged for that? No, the billing will not start, right? So I need to establish a media before the billing. Otherwise, if they are sending through a normal call, what happens? Even if I hear their ring caller tune, I will get charged for my billing, right? My provider will start charging for me for the billing. But before the billing, I need to exchange a media. It's only one directional media. That means it's coming from the carrier side or the destination side towards me. That type of call, okay, before the actual communication, there is another media in terms of an announcement or a music. We usually call that type of call flows early media. Early media means there is an early media before the actual media. That's where it is. So that early media, again, for media we need, of course, we need SDP. We need to share the SDP. I will show you what is an SDP, then it will make more sense for you guys. So to get that SDP, I cannot use my regular call flows like invite 200 OK or 200 OK and ACK. That is normal type of call flow. If I use that, of course, the moment I start hearing the music or the caller tune, I will get billed for that. But before that session actually establishes, I need to create another temporary session. We call it as early media call flow. Early media usually utilizing a message called 183 session progress. So let's see here how it works. So I send an invite will be forwarded. Let us consider it's an early offer invite itself. So in the initial invite, I have my SDP. Of course, I get 100 try. The invite will be forwarded to PSTN side or the remote side. I got 100 trying. Now I need to hear his caller tune, right? I need to listen to the caller tune. So they're going to send a message called 183 session progress. Sometimes it is 183, sometimes it is 18x message. And there are a lot of messages in that series, 18 series, 1xx series, 18x series. Okay, in 18x series, there are a lot of messages. Most of the SIP providers implementation will be 183 session progress. Even if you get something else, you don't get surprised, it is common. So let's consider 183 session progress in this case. You get their SDP and that will be forwarded to your originator. So at this point, if a user is sitting here with the Teams application, he shared his SDP, he got an SDP back, right? Now that means if I have an SDP in this 183 session progress, I will configure my system in such a way that I need to send an acknowledgement message. We call it as pre-acknowledgement. It's not an actual acknowledgement. Actual acknowledgement we have seen, right? That happens once the call is connected. But before this, there is a call is not yet connected here, right? So to address that, okay, I got an SDP. I understand you have a early media there. I will respond. I'll send a response called pre-acknowledgement. That pre-acknowledgement will be forwarded to the remote side, and then I get a 200 OK for the prac. pre-acknowledgement we call it as prac. So there'll be 200 OK here, right? Call is not yet answered here. When the call is answered, of course, there'll be a 200 OK. That is actually designed for our invite. But here we are getting a 200 OK, but that is not for the initial invite. Initial invite is still not answered. Okay, I'm just answering the SDP portion here. So once the prac is delivered on the other side, they will send a 200 OK. I will extend that 200 OK back to my originator. So here I shared my SDP, I got the SDP back. Now these guys will start streaming that media to my SDP side. SDP I'm sharing on the first place itself, right? So they're going to send their media. And again, this is one directional media. I will not be able to talk to them. I can only hear that. So they will send the media because I already shared my SDP in the first place. They understand, okay, what is my IP address, what is my port number, what is my codec supported. So they start streaming that media back to me, and we call it as early media. So this will be a ringtone, not a ringtone, a caller tone, or some type of announcement saying that the user is not available, or the number you're calling is busy, or whatever. That greetings, right? It is always one directional, and that is called early media. And now imagine at this point, you are hearing the caller tune and that guy picking up the call. When he picks up the call, of course, naturally he sent 200 OK, right? This is what we learned. Invite 100 trying and 200 OK. So 200 OK will be coming. That 200 OK is for actually for the invite, which is this. Okay, so you send an invite, you should receive a 200 OK back. So you got a 200 OK back. That will have the other SDP. Other SDP in the sense, this SDP, this SDP basically for the early media flow. There will be some other servers streaming that part, like an MOH server or a media server. They will be sending that. But at this point, this is the actual user. We need to connect the media to the user. Sometimes it will be the same server, or sometimes it will be a different server handling that audio call. So that moment, they will send the SDP back to me in 200 OK, and I will forward that to my side. Okay, so this time it's an early offer call flow, right? I have an SDP here and 200 OK, I'm receiving an SDP back. So it's again an early offer call flow. Before that, actually call setup establishes, I will exchange another SDP in the form of session description, in the form of 183, and set up an early media. And here again, like once I get the both side SDP, I will send an acknowledgement message, ACK is passed, and then they establish bidirectional RTP stream at this point. So they communicate each other, then whoever disconnect, they send a bye message by 200 OK and 200 OK. This is called early media. So before the actual media, you have something called an early media used for exchanging some type of announcements or caller tune or ringtones. Again, this is one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Abdul, actually, this prac message, I mean, will it be possible for delayed offered also?
Yeah, this is what I was trying to do. It is possible. It is one type of early media I have explained here. Other than this, when you don't send the SDP in the initial invite, what they do is they will send their SDP in the this section itself. There'll be prac message. We only need remote. Okay. They send their SDP back, and after the prac message, there is another message called update. This is also I have seen in some type of call flows. I was trying to get a log for audio codes, but I was unable to replicate this scenario. So in the update message, you send your capabilities to the other side. That is also possible. Again, I have explained is one form of early media. There are different way of implementing early media using update or using re-invite. I'm going to send one more invite again to establish that media. A lot of different varieties will be available. All we need to understand that prac message and 183 session progress here. The way I exchange my capabilities to the other side, it can be an update message, or I'll send another re-invite, which we will see in a different call flow also. Another re-invite to the other party and establish that. So don't catch me only for this type of call flow, even for establishing early media, which I will demonstrate one today, because I will switch off my phone. Then from team side, I will call my phone. Of course, I'll get that the number you're calling is not reachable, right? And we'll collect the logs and see how Microsoft has implemented this early media. For each entities in the each vendor, they have their own SIP implementation. That's why it's an open standard. So the way they implement will be always different from the other parties. So the way Microsoft implemented in a different way, and Cisco implemented a different way, or any other SBC SBC or vendor, they implement in their own fashion. So this particular thing I can explain only in a theoretical reference. You can answer this as your interview question, but when it comes to the real log collection, you have to apply your own logic. Okay, how I am exchanging my media, how they are sending the media back to me, which I will demonstrate. One sample I will demonstrate today itself. Okay, so this is only for your theoretical analysis, theoretical understanding.
Question, Abdul.
Yeah, go ahead.
Track also comes under transaction one.
No, I'm not able to hear anything. Guys, I'm audible?
Yes.
Something went wrong on my side.
Yes, you are
You
audible.
are audible.
Okay,
Yeah.
is there any question?
Question, in this scenario, 180 ringing is not present.
Yes. So in this scenario, again, sometimes you will see 180 ringing also after the 180 session progress. But here itself, this 183 session progress 200, okay, this portion is actually responsible or equivalent for 180 ringing. It's basically exchanging that ring back sound, right? 180 ringing is actually for hearing the ring back sound from the other side. So this time I'm not hearing the ring back, instead I'm hearing a caller tune or a music. So 183 session progress, prac and 200 okay will constantly, I can represent as a 180 ringing itself. So you don't see sometimes, again, sometimes you do see 183 session progress. I will show you some example today. We'll make some call. I'll show you some example. When you study theoretically, okay, this is the exact call flow. You cannot even see that call flow in the real time. There'll be, of course, some changes, but you only need to understand the messages and responses. Okay, when I send an invite, how the response will come. Few things about those messages, then you will be able to figure out, okay, I am having this type of call flow. Now let me do my analysis based on that type of call flow. Yeah, in this case, sometimes you see ringing, sometimes this 183 prac and 200 okay, it's constitute that ringing message itself.
Okay.
AJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, where you are going to mention that early offer or in the call, because how you are going to set it in the any settings for this?
Yes, for every system, there will be a specific settings to make that early offer and delayed offer. Depending on the SB, that is always varies. In the audio course, you will see an option to do early offer in one side. In Cisco, we do that on the dial peer side. And each SBC will have their own settings. But in Microsoft Teams, they hard coded that every invite will be an early offer. So when you receive any call from Microsoft Teams side, you will always see that SDP in it. So team side, it is not customizable, but SBC side, you can make it early offer, delayed offer, whatever stuff you want. Now, let me open one SIP message, then we'll go through those contents. So again, I'm coming back to the early offer call flow, which is most common call flow. And now we will see the if you go to the learning document, there is a new book over here called SIP Deep Dive ebook. You can download this, and that's the book I'm currently opening here. There is a chat message in the Zoom. What is it? Yeah, recording started. Somebody was asking recording started or not. Yes, started. All right, so this is basically the complete SIP discussion. You guys can get the encrypted copy of this. I will also release the PDF version. I'm waiting for some more customization on this. I will send that document in the our WhatsApp chat. And there is a sample SIP log message, which I will be demonstrating here, right? The sample SIP log is available here. You can download that, or you develop your own SBC and start collecting some of the logs. And this is early offer, we discussed this delayed offer, we discussed this early media, we discussed that. Now let us take one message. Let me also open that SIP message in Notepad. What is it? Just a second. Mm. By the way, this is a message from audio codes SPC. So in audio code SPC, when you collect the logs, I'll also open my sample user. We can make some calls. I have an SPC already deployed, audio codes deployed. I have done the direct routing. There is an option to export the SIP messages when you do the actual debugging using the syslog viewer. There is an option to export the logs. Once you export the log, this is what you get. It's almost similar to that. So here, this is MS Team side, and this is your Tilio or the PSTM side, and this is your SBC. So I'm sending an initial invite, which is having SDP. They categorize this as F1. So this F1 is basically to identify what type of message it is. So if I go select F1, go to F1, I can see that this is that content of the message, SIP message. So let's see what are the information here. So this particular field, the entire stuff is called URI. So I copied the same message and pasted into my Word document here so that I can do little more highlighting. So whatever you see in the violet color, those are highlighted by me. Those are not a part of the SIP message. So I categorize that into different lines and I added my own comments there just to understand. Basically, I have just taken the message from this portion till here. This is one invite. So we're going to dissect that invite into multiple pieces and understand what is each line represented. So the first line, invite SIP colon, the mobile number. Basically, this call is a call which is coming from a Teams user to a PSTN. So even before going there, in the SIP, we have something called request or method. Okay, request or method. Wherever you see these messages, invite, act, buy, cancel, register, the English words, options, info, update, all those things are your request. I can simply call it as request or method, SIP method or SIP request. So we'll understand the request first and then the responses like 200 OK, 180 ringing, 183 session progress. All those things are responses. So here I'm going to discuss about the request, and one of the common requests is our invite request. And let's see what is the content of invite request. The first line is called the request URI, that talks about where the call is going towards, what's the destination number, and what's my destination domain, port number, all sort of things. This is called your SIP URI. Then there will be a from field. Again, if you want to compare with Notepad, you can see that invite is there. Then there is a from field. In that you can see who is the caller, Tom Cruise, and then its URI portion of it. So that is what it is, originator. So you understand, okay, this is the call coming from Tom Cruise. Then to, so as name indicates, it's the destination to this field, and this field will be always same. I can see that it is going to my mobile number with the SBC there. So that's the destination. Then this is the number, C sequence number I was talking about. So for an entire transaction, the C sequence will be always same. Each request in the same dialog follows the same number. By the way, there is something called dialog. Well, let's see. So here we see one transaction, second transaction, and third transaction. The entire stuff is called one dialog. So one SIP dialog contains multiple transactions. So in the transaction, that C sequence number will be unique. For example, if you open invite and then until this 200 OK, we will see same number. I will show you that. So C sequence, in my case, it's 1, which is one invite. Ignore the invite now, it shows 1. If you open remaining portion, we'll go through those messages. We will see that C sequence will be the same thing. Then I can understand this is actually the response for my initial invite. If there is a re-invite for some reason, then the C sequence number changes. Then I can understand, okay, this response is actually for the initial invite. This is for the second invite. In that the number becomes 2. Again, it depends on the vendor how they implement. In Microsoft Teams, it starts with 1. And Cisco, it starts with 101. If you take a SIP message from Call Manager, you will always see the number start from 101 invite. Then re-invite will be 102, 103, etc. So again, vendor to vendor will be different, but all you need to see, there is a number which talks about the call sequence. So each transaction, that will be the same thing. Okay, next thing is call ID. Call ID is a unique value for each call leg. For example, if I open this particular call flow, all these invite, 100 trying, one entire messages, right, till the act, buy and 200, okay, will have a unique value called call ID. It's not the caller ID, it's the call, we call it as call ID. Don't confuse with the caller ID of the originator. Call ID is used to track one particular call leg. Okay, from Teams to SBC, if I put that call ID, entire message will have the same call IDs. Okay, that way I can understand. These are the messages for the SBC and Team side. And the other thing, another call ID, entirely different call ID for this particular area, this particular call leg. So that's way I can easily identify the direction of the messages also, right? Invite is coming here. There is one more invite going. So of course, this invite will have a different call ID. This invite will have a different call ID. So it's always a unique parameter to identify the call. Again, if you want to see that in the actual message, this is what it is, call ID. This is how it looks like in the actual message. Then we have something called max forwards. Max forwards means how many hops it can go. In this case, if I send a SIP message from here, I have one hop here, which is my SBC. When I pass that message, means this invite, right, that will have the value 69. So initially the start with 70, then each hop
Hi,
it passes.
hi AJ.
Yeah.
I'm audible.
Yes.
Could you please bring this page little right, because some of the details are, hiding somewhere
Oh, is it
on the left?
this one?
Yes. Little right.
Is it audio visible
Yes.
now?
Still it is missing out for me.
Which one?
It's good for I mean for
Good
us.
for
but
us, yeah.
yeah, it's
You
good
can
for
see.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe it might say.
Some
Okay, thank you.
alignment issues, yeah. All right. So what I was talking about is, yeah, so a max forward. So each hop it passes. So initially I develop a SIP message. I means Microsoft Teams develop a SIP message. They send to SBC. The value of the max forward will be 70. And it passes that first hop, right, SBC. Then the invite is going towards the PSTN side. Of course, that invite will have a value of 69. Means the max forward will be getting reduced 1 by each hop. So that means it can pass until 70 hops. Once it reaches 70, it discards. It is used for to avoiding some loop. For example, in the same call, you send an invite to the SBC. In the SBC, you configure the same thing back to the teams. That creates a loop, right? So invite is going, then the same invite is coming back to the teams. Teams will send back to the SBC. So you can create a loop. So that loop will run only 70 times. Once it reaches 70, then system will understand, okay, there is some type of a loop. Let me discard that. So that's the reason they set this value. By default, it is 70. I think it will customize. It can be customizable. Microsoft Teams side you can't do anything, but on the SBC side you can customize this. This is what my understanding. I haven't changed that. Okay, so that's the maximum number of session or not session hop it can pass, and it decrements 1 by every side. Then there are two fields called via and record route. This was one of the questions asked by one of the students when we were covering that. So via provides the information about the path that the SIP request has taken. So basically, when I send a message, I'll say, okay, this is my via field. When the other party send me a response is like 1xx, 2xx, all those things. They should send to this IP address. This is what I'm saying, basically using via. So 52.114.132.46.50.61 is Microsoft Teams IP address. So when an invite comes from the Microsoft Teams, they'll say, okay, this is the via, which is my server IP address. So if I'm sending an 100 trying, 180 ringing, or 200 okay, all those things will be forwarded towards this IP address. That is the significance of via. Okay, so it's for responses. Responses means 1x, 2x, 3x, all those things. These are responses. So I need to send that back to this IP address. Then what is record route? So record route is also similar to via, which says the IP address of the FQDN of the server which is coming from, but this is used to route the request, like let's say what message in this case. I can take an example. Yeah, so in this case I'm sending an invite, it's a request, right? So I'm not getting any reply as a request. I don't have anything in this case, right? So it will be discarded. So if I'm getting something like ACK, PRAC, or any other English letters, means we discussed in the initial time, right? Any of these messages, invite, ACK, buy, cancel, register, option. Yeah, imagine I'm getting a cancel, right? If I'm getting a cancel coming from this side to me, I send an invite, I'm getting a cancel. To address that cancel, or to address that, or where should I send, where should the other party send the cancel, we usually look into the record route section, this particular portion. SIP DUA USPSN app.microsoft.com is nothing but the same IP address here. When you do a resolution from your side, you will be getting something different, because I set up everything in the North America, right? So they do geo load balancing. So from North America, if I resolve this, you actually get this IP. So that means your via header and record route are similar, but via is used to reply, means send the reply responses. Record route is used to send the reply in the request method, like if you have a cancel message coming in or a buy message coming in, this is used for routing those messages. Same information on the both header. I have seen one is in the IP format, one is in the FQDN format, doesn't matter. These two guys are the same. This is for routing the responses. Record route is used for routing the request. Request means invite, cancel, buy, options, cancel, all those messages. Then one more thing. Contact header. Again, all these messages are present here, right? See, record route, via, then contacts. So let's see what is contacts. This will be the originating SIP server. So via will be one of the SIP server where it passes. The immediate response has to go there. But once it reaches in that particular site, for example, here, who is initiating this call, basically there will be a user sitting here. A user with Teams application will be sitting here, right? So this Microsoft Teams wants to identify that user. So that is the contact field. That is the actually initiator, right? If a Tom Cruise making the call, that Tom Cruise application, that user is the initiator. So the Teams server has to identify, okay, this particular user has initiated that call. So that information will be encoded in that contact field. Basically this values, right? This is their unique ID to represent that user, Tom Cruise user. So details about the originator, actual originator. Here we see the originator URI that talks about what URI, but here I am identifying the actual application or the source of that guy. Okay, this is Tom Cruise. Nothing will be written here in terms of Teams, but in Cisco you can see the MAC address of the IP phone and few other things. Microsoft represent this way, some type of ID, but this is basically the Tom Cruise representation of the Tom Cruise user within the Microsoft Teams infrastructure. So when final message comes in, I will be, or the Teams will be signaling this particular guy. So contact will be the originator. Then you might ask, okay, what's the difference between from and contact? From is just a representation to show the caller ID field in the other side. It shows, okay, this is the caller ID. This is what it is to the other side. But contact means when I get a response finally, where should I send that response within my server itself? Because the Tom Cruise user belongs to the Microsoft Teams. So he initiates a message, then Microsoft Teams takes it, send it out, and then he is getting some, the Teams is getting some responses back. When that responses come, where should I finally send that to? So I should send that to the user, right? So the identification of that user will be there in the contact header. Then another thing is called content length. So content length will be either 0 or will be some value there. So basically it tells me about the size of my SDP. So there will be an SDP section coming below. We will go there. So if I have an SDP, what is the length of that SDP in bytes, which is that there in the content length. Okay, so if you see content length 0, that means it's a delayed offer. Invite should not have any SDP. If there is a value, some byte value, then of course you can scroll down and see a section something like this. Okay, in the actual message, if I see content length 1019 means I will see something like this part, v equal to 0, this. This is what SDP is all about. We'll cover SDP, what is it? But content length represent how much byte these values are. Now, what else after that? Content length.
Abdul,
Yeah.
in context, might be there in the like some object ID of the user.
Yeah. Yes. Here this is actually the object ID itself, but I will not be able to correlate this is that user. But if you are taking this from the call manager side, you can see the font MAC address there and the line PK ID also there. So you can identify this is from that user. Basically, this is the user who initiated that.
Physical phone MAC address is there.
Yes. Okay. So let's move on, which is minimum SC. There are multiple expiry timers in SIP. So the minimum SC timer is a minimum expiration time used to avoid frequent refresh. So after 300 seconds, that means 5 minutes, there will be a refresh mechanism. So refresh mechanism in the sense when I'm talking to someone, if that session exceeds, in this case, 5 minutes. But whereas in call manager, it is 15 minutes. Okay, Teams set it up to 300 seconds. So after 300 seconds, Teams will send one more invite or update. There are different mechanisms to refresh that session. So it can be an invite, then we call it as re-invite, or it can be an update message to refresh the session saying that, okay, I'm active, you are active, let us continue. So what is the minimum time I'm expecting for that? Within this time, I should be able to receive a refresh mechanism. It can be a re-invite or it can be an update message. This is what that minimum SC timer. You can see that min SC here, min SC. Okay. Again, most of the values are default. You don't need to worry about all those things. Since we are going through each messages, I am just covering it. And also, if somebody asks in the interview what is minimum SC timer, can give this explanation. Then supported. So supported means here it says history, info, and timer. And sometimes you will see a lot of other messages. So this particular invite will support features or extra functionalities. History info is another type of I think it's a SIP feature. It supports. I don't have much idea about it. You can always ask ChatGPT. I'll also show you some other cool idea to go through SIP messages. History info, timer. I will keep it for that experiment. Okay, let us keep this aside. Okay, I'm not explaining this. Then I'll show you how I usually learn. If I don't know something, how I will learn. Just keep it for a side. We will discuss about that. Then user agent is another important thing. From there, there are multiple ways that you can tell, okay, this is a message coming from Microsoft Teams side. But this is one side where you can identify what type of server it is. So in this case, it shows Microsoft PSTN hub.zip proxy. So it is Microsoft's side proxy server or the SIP server, and this is their version. And if it is a call manager, you can see CU, CM11 or whatever. If it is a cube or SPC, you will see a cube version number, all those things there. So this also help you to identify the direction of the message. If user agent is this, then it is originated from this side. So in this case, it's a Microsoft Teams originated thing. Then content type. So we have seen content length in the above, right? Content length 1109 and then content type. So I have an SDP here. That's the reason they're saying there is a content and also there is a body. That body is nothing but SDP. By the way, the order does not matter, right? If you see sequence in the above, from in the below, via in the above, contact in the below, any order doesn't matter. Everything will work. You should have these many headers. That's it. So headers position can be different. If you debug in one server, you can see from is here, to is here, then maybe application content type SDP, or sometimes you will see content length and then content type. So the order of the header does not matter as long as you have those orders. Okay. Then so we will see SDP again. So we have two correlation point here, right? One is content length, then content type. So we got content length and content type. We'll see what is the other one. Allow. So action supported by the SIP entity that receives the message. That means for this invites, the other party can send an ACK, options, cancel, buy, notify. All those things will be supported. That is what the action supported by that particular messages, which is there in the allow header. Again, I don't consider allow much. We don't need to identify all those basic important headers are there. That is the one we need to keep special attention on. Then session expire. This is another expiry. We have seen min SE, right? And this is session expiry. Maximum amount of time in seconds that the session can last before it expires. If refresh request is not received within this time, the session considers ended. So even without refresh, we see, okay, at this point there should be a refresh mechanism, right? After 5 minutes, there should be a refresh mechanism. If that refresh is not happening, session will not expire, will be still there until this value expires. If this expires, entire thing will be disconnected. So again, in call manager, we see both of them are similar. This will be same and this will be also same, but Microsoft Teams, they have different values there. It's still fine. As long as you have a refresh mechanism there, then doesn't matter, session will continue to be active. Then we go to our session description protocol. This is what the SDP is all about. That discuss about what protocol, what port number, what media, all those things. So let's see that. Version equal to 0 is just like SDP version. Most of the time you will see 0 as the version. Then honestly this value I don't know, so I ignore that. Then they have something called S equal to session. Another important thing is called CIN. So by the way, sometimes I see twice a CIN. CIN is here, CIN is here. Basically it is the same. It says an IP address, and that is the originator's IP address. When the other side sends the media, right, when they are sending the media, this is the source IP address you need to send to me. Like when I am talking to somebody else, I'll say, okay, this is my address. When you send a response back to my email or my communication, you send it to my CIN address. So CIN is nothing but the originator SIP server IP address. If an IP phone is making a call in terms of Cisco side, the CIN will be IP address of the phone itself. But whereas in Microsoft Teams side, it will be the server's IP, because that server will be translating that back to the application, the Teams application side. But the media will be terminating on that side. Wherever media is terminating, that is a CIN IP address where the other party is ending. So in my case, the PSTN will be sending the media to this IP address, which is nothing but one of the SIP server IP address from Microsoft Teams side. All right. So that is about CIN. You can see twice, that is still fine. Even if you see one, that is okay. Then I don't know this, but we can understand there is a mechanism, there is a way to identify this as well. M equal to audio. That's another important line here. This is called, yeah.
Abdul, I have one clarification. You mentioned C in related to the other parties in media, right? So
Yeah.
in this example, the call is initiated from Microsoft.
Yes.
That is Teams.
Yes.
So this IP address is SBC or Telio IP address?
Teams.
Teams
IP. Yeah, it's originator. So other party, suppose I'm calling you, I am Teams. I am saying, okay, when you send the media, send it to this IP address, which is CIN IP address, which is my own IP address. Where the other party will be sending IP address where the other party sends the media. Not for them, it's for myself. When others sending the media, it should come to this IP address. So basically I'm exchanging my capabilities there. SDP is about capability, right? I am saying this is my address. When you reply to my email, send it to this address. That address is CIN. Is it clear?
Okay, and this is not related to user IP address. It's a team.
Yeah, so that's the catch here, right? So let me go back to the...
It's a backend
yeah,
IP address.
backend server IP, but you can correlate this way. We have Teams here. And the user also sitting here. And what type of communication is this? This is purely HTTP. It is not something, what do you call, SIP.
Okay.
And here they will have a lot of SIP servers, media servers and everything hidden. One of its IP address is that 52 dot something something. So when I send a call to SBC side, and then SBC extend that to PSTN. We are not discussing this part. Let's consider SBC side. And when SBC, I'm informing the SBC that when Teams is sending an invite message to the SBC, I'm informing, okay, my IP address is 52, let's say x.x.x, and you need to send that response back to me. In this case, it's a server, but imagine this is not HTTP, it's an IP phone,
SIP.
yeah, capable of SIP. In that case, when SBC sends the media, I don't want SBC to send the media to this server and this again, right? So I can say that, okay, you directly send to this. As long as it's allowed, there is a NAT translation, all of those things are there, then I can do that. In call manager scenario, you will see that. That will be the CIN will be the IP address of your IP phone. But in my case, I cannot establish media directly to the user from the SBC side. It has to come, terminate in the team side, translate that back to a different form of communication that is proprietary to Microsoft Teams, then extend that media. So I will terminate it to one server inside the Teams, then they will take care of the remaining things.
API, right? Like HTTP API using
API.
and the SIP is converting that one.
Yes. So like I said, the SIP is like an open standard, the way different vendors are implementing in a different way. But in team side, you will usually see an IP address here. That will be the IP address, which is this, of a Microsoft Teams media server itself. There will be a dedicated server within the Microsoft Teams. All the media will be terminated there. They translate that back to a Teams application-based media. So that's what it is. Clear?
Okay, thank you. And one more thing, the IP address you mentioned, right? Teams 52.x. So this is a cloud-based Microsoft software. But
Yes.
this IP address will be same for other organizations as well?
Most of the time, depending on the region. So I
Okay.
collected this one from North America. I replicate everything in North America side, right? And then this will be the same. And if I do that for a different side, IP may change, but it's all start from 52. It's all Microsoft IP address itself. They have different servers across the globe. Nearest to the media server, you will be getting connected to. So you will get that nearest media server IP.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yep. Now, let's see this line. This is another important line called media line. If it is a video call, by the way, nobody asked about, can we do video call to Microsoft Teams from external side? Yes or no? No answers. My question is,
Not sure.
yeah,
Not sure.
yeah. So the video is not supported. Only audio call is currently supported for Microsoft Teams side. But if it is a video call, you will see two M line, M equal to audio and M equal to video. In the M equal to audio, you will see all your audio parameters. So what is this? 51422. This is your RTP port number. So the remote party will be sending the media to this IP address to this port number. So you are sharing your media port numbers also. So whatever you see on the STP, it's all your capabilities, not something destination. Because you don't know what is destination, you only know your capabilities. You are sending your capability 51422. That's the RTP port number. Then this is called secure audio video profile. This is RTP. This S represent, it's an SRTP. Then 10491031111, some numbers. So there is a meaning for all these numbers. These are, first one is media port, we know that. Remaining things are codecs. All these things are codecs. Then you have DTMF relay also there. So now let us translate this line, then come back to the CIN and whatever stuff. So this 104, guys, if you're not talking, please mute. Yeah. So if you are seeing this 104, then you will see a line with 104 called RTP map 104. Okay. So let's understand what is 104. 104 is codec called silk codec, and then it's KB per second, or the bit rate is 16 kilohertz. So silk codec with sampling rate of 16 kilohertz. By the way, you guys understand what is codec, right? Or that is also new to you? Do you need an explanation for what is codec?
No, it's
At least I'm aware.
Okay, Most of the guys are aware about codec. What is codec? That's the audio equivalent of your, digital equivalent of your audio. When you talk something, that can be represented in different format, which is G711, 29, G7, ALO, ULO, all those things. So Silk is a native codec of Microsoft Teams. So that is 104. Then what is 9? So 9 will be here, RTP map 9. 9 is G722 with 8 kilobits. G722 is another codec. Similarly, 103 with a different sampling rate, which is again Silk with 8000. Then 111 is for Siren codec. It's another codec. Oh my god, a lot of codecs are there. Then 18 is G729 with 8 KB per second. And 18 there are multiple flavors, NXB, NXAB, NX. So they are saying though NX support, it's plain native G729. That's why it is here. Then 0 means PCM ULO, which is G711 ULO, and this is G711 ALO. So these are the most common codec. So even if Microsoft says I support all these codecs, response will be either one of them for this. We'll see in the response also. Then 97 is another robust header compression red codec. It's another codec. Then 101 is actually telephonic event, which is DTMF event. It's in-band DTMF signaling with sampling rate of 8 KB per second. That means when you hear an IVR, thank you for calling XYZ, press 1 for this, press 2 for this. The moment you press 8, some values, right? That value will be triggered some sound. Like when you press a keypad button, there will be a sound, beep sound. That beep sound will be represented in the form of 8 kilohertz and sent to the other party through the audio channel itself. That is what the telephony event is all about. Then again, these are extra, means wherever you see those numbers, right, those are extra capabilities of that. You can further expand that. I'll show you how you can further dig into that. Then 13 is comfort noise, like it's gonna generate some background noise, right? Some sound. I was hearing that when I connect through the Microsoft Teams, I can hear that background noise, which is 8000 and then 16,000, means 8 KB per second and 16 KB per second background noise. Then P time. P time is duration of each media packet. So to know that, we need to understand, we need to explain again the codec part. So let's see. This is my audio signal.
You are not sharing.
Oh, sorry. So let's go back to the basics of engineering. This is your audio signal. Means that is straight away captured from your microphone. So what is the next process? I wanted to get some codec. So what is the next process? You guys tell me. I do something here, right? What is that process? What is that?
Sampling.
Yeah, so I need to do sampling. Yeah. So when I do sampling, I'll be getting samples of it. Oh, I got it. Then after sampling,
Quantization, huh?
yes. You guys remember now. Quantization means
Nyquist theorem.
I'm sorry.
It's a Nyquist theorem.
Yeah, right. Nyquist theorem. 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. So I need to represent this one into a different form. So it is
8,000 total.
Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3, then 2, because it's going down, right? I'll take some simple example. 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. Then what is next? I will convert this into 8 bits. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. The next value is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Next value is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. So this is basically value 0, this is value 1, and this is 2. Okay. So the first bit I usually take it for representing my polarities, it's positive or negative, because I have -1 also coming up here, right? So if 0 is positive, that means we call it as, I think it is yellow. G711 ALO or ULO, right? So they take their own way. I don't exactly recall 0 is positive or negative. If 0 is positive, I'm assuming it is ALO. If I am wrong, it will be ULO. Okay. Then if I represent 1 here, then that will be the negative of it. Like for example, 0 means positive 1. If it is 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1, this is negative 1. Again, their own representation, they have their own style. I am going to convert the values into 8 bits. So I got it. So I have my values there. What else? After getting these values, what will I do? How many values will be there, by the way? So 1 second audio, they're going to divide that into how many? 8,000 samples. This is what the guy who is Nyquist or Nyquist, it's a scientist who discovered if you wanted to regenerate the audio. Right now, whenever I am talking, my audio will be dissected into 8,000 pieces, then sending to you so that you can reconstruct using your headset or laptop speaker. So that's the common criteria for every audio packet. So I will have 8,000 samples in this case, right? Are you getting my point? So that sample, the point I have, yeah, I will convert that into 8,000. So there will be 8,000 these type of things, 8,000. And how will I send this? Now this is digital equivalent, right? This is digital equivalent of my audio. How can I transmit this using the IP network? By the way, what's the difference between IP and digital?
We have to put some headers and
yes, yeah. So there will be source IP header, destination IP header, source MAC address, destination MAC address, then payload. What is payload here? Payload is nothing but your actual audio value. This is what your payload. And the entire structure is called your IP packet. This can be transmitted to the other side because it has the information of about the source and destination. This is the only thing which can be translated. If it is only digital, it can be transmitted to other side only using direct wires. Like you need the PRI. PRI is an example of this. Whatever comes, it sends. But here, whatever comes, it waits for some time, add the headers and send it. But in this example, how many packets will be there? I said I have 8,000 of the payload items here, right? So of course, how many packets I will have? Means IP packet.
8,000.
8,000. So if I wait for that 8,000, yeah. So sending 8,000 packets in a second, it will overutilize my resources. Like I need to generate a small packet which contain a small portion of my audio. Add these headers. Like this will be always same. Source, destination, source MAC, destination MAC. Okay, I'm sending to one party. For each samples of the 8,000, if I am adding these headers, that will have more resource utilization in my server. So I need to construct this packet, take this digital value, construct this packet, send it continuously. So 8,000. So instead of 8,000, what they did is they said, okay, we will, yeah, put in a group. We will wait for 20 milliseconds. So this 1 second you divide into 20 millisecond, 20 millisecond, 20 millisecond. So whatever equivalent of 20 millisecond, that's called sampling size, you construct into one payload and send it. So one message like this, then another 20 millisecond will be the remaining portion, and then another 20 millisecond, another 20 millisecond. That way you can finish your 1 second. So when I'm talking to you right now, the audio that you're listening from your microphone, from your headset, it's actually delayed by 20 milliseconds. That is common, but 20 milliseconds comparatively a small delay, which nobody can recognize. That's why we still feel it is a real-time communication. It's not actually the real time. Whatever I'm saying, you are hearing after 20 milliseconds. So that 20 millisecond is nothing but this thing, P time. Duration of each media packet will be 20 milliseconds. There are ways you can do 30 millisecond, 50 millisecond. Based on that, there will be equivalent delays. 20 is the default and Again, this can be customized. You can set that to 30 millisecond, 40 millisecond, but the more value you added, it will reduce your resource utilization, but there'll be a small delay in your communication. Okay, so that's our last message here. So this entire stuff, this is called your SDP. That means your own capabilities. Again, there are few more other things. You don't come and ask me, okay, you did not explain candidate, you did not explain main equal to audio. I will tell you a way to understand that. Okay, so if I was in your situation, what would I do is if I don't, nobody can learn everything, right? So what I do is I'll copy my entire SIP message. Right now we have the flexibility of using chat GPTs, right? So I'll go back to chat GPT. Then I will say, okay, we can directly interact, right? Chat GPT is like you can utilize the chat GPT as your, it's like a human being itself. You can tell that I have a SIP message. I will ask questions about it. Okay. You'll say, okay, please give me the SIP message. Yes. So I'm going to paste that message here, the entire message. It give me some analysis about it, but this is not I'm looking for. I will see. Okay. We park something here, right? I was saying, okay, we'll identify. Yes. So I wanted to know what is this supported field. So let me ask a question. Where is my chat GPT? Forget about this. Okay. My first question is, what is header? So you have the answer. Supported header in this SIP message indicates that the feature or extension supported by the sender message. It lists the SIP options or capabilities that the sender understand can process. Means the sender can process these many capabilities. In this case, supported header contains the value history info and timer. So history info, this is typically refers the support for history info header, which allows the prevention of management call history information. Timer indicates this indicates support for the SIP session timer mechanism, which enables the maintenance of the session refresh duration SIP maintenance session duration SIP messages. So this type of response you can get from ChatGPT. So instead of asking me, you can ask any questions to ChatGPT. It will give you 99.9% of the time right answers. So this is what I do now. If I get a message, or even if I wanted to do some analysis about some messages, instead of you are breaking your head and going through each header and Google it, just paste it to ChatGPT, start asking question.
Yeah,
Right?
AJ,
Yeah.
you can try ChatGPT 4 also. It is more advanced. Okay,
Is it?
so which is going to be, yeah, I'll just tell. Actually, you
But
don't have
paid,
option for
it
that.
paid, right?
Yeah, it's paid. I will tell for that one. Actually, it is paid for 1,700 Indian INR.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
but you'll get all the things, almost all.
Mm.
If you think like it is
Very nice
99,
of that one.
yeah, it is 99%, you can tell more than 100% is that one. We can integrate with lot of apps also in that. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, because I am selling this one. That's why I'm telling you.
Okay. So, but
Okay.
it's paid option, right?
Yeah, paid
Okay.
option.
Yeah.
Actually, what
Yeah.
I am have my team. What we'll do, we'll just to give that one for 400 rupees in the shared account.
Oh,
But
okay.
this is very, very good. And technically, I'm telling. See, I am from technical, not for design.
Okay.
But technically, it will create a PPT. You want to create a note, or for example, you given your Cisco notes, I will upload and will make it as a PPT.
Yeah, yeah. I see that. So these previously in ChatGPT 3.5, there was no option to upload images.
Yeah.
It came
Yes,
recently. So
yes.
they are implementing. Yeah,
That
yeah. So for it's a.
advanced.
Yeah.
Advanced means more advanced. I can tell. I can die if you put that chair right. I will ask. Please create a call for this. It means I am getting the call flow.
Okay.
So that type of features, diagrammatic, it is good.
Yeah. So that is your choice. That's the best choice then. Go for ChatGPT 4, pay that 1,000 or whatever. 400, Balaji will give you for 400. I'll pay you that. Okay. So then you can utilize. Yeah, I'm explaining about the free capabilities, but even in advanced ChatGPT 4, you can get more. This is what I usually do. I use the free version for many other things. Even it is helpful. And never experienced the forward. I have seen that a lot of YouTubers are saying, okay, try ChatGPT for this is it, that is it. You can upload Excel, you can get PPT, you can upload any files, all those things. I never tried that. I'll try that anyway. So then the message, correct, related to the message, you can ask. For example, you don't understand what is this line. Okay, I'll copy this. I'll ask question. Explain me about the line. Here we go. So they're gonna dissect and explain exactly what is each parameter. A crypto, this indicates that the cryptographic parameters are being defined. That means it's a secure communication. One means crypto suite ID. Then AES 128 will be a part of the cryptographic suite being used. Include AES algorithm, encryption algorithm. Everything can be fetched using ChatGPT support. So whatever I did not explain in this case, you guys can do this method. For example, all these stuff, go and ask ChatGPT and identify that. So hope that is clear, guys. So we completed the invite message, how an invite looks like. This is what it is, a complete invite. And let's go and understand the remaining request method. So I'm going to talk, yeah, go ahead.
AJ, you explained about minimum SE and session expiry, right?
Yeah,
The session expiry is complete session, when the session will get disconnected. So what is minimum SE like?
Within minimum SE, I am expecting a refresh message from the other side. In Cisco side, this minimum SE and expiry are the same. That means within that time, I should receive a re-invite or an update from the other side so that session will be maintained. So minimum SE, I will wait for the refresh. If it comes, I will refresh the session. I'll continue. If it is not, I don't do anything. I'll still continue until I reach my maximum expiry time. So once it reaches here, the session will be terminated.
Okay, so what will be the like if minimum SE time and session expiry time both are same means like?
Yeah, both are same means 100% I'll be expecting a response within that time, a refresh in that time. If I did not receive, the session will expire at that moment itself. Say for example, it is 5 minutes for both. So within 5 minutes, I should receive a session refresh. Otherwise, I'll terminate. But if first one is 5 minutes and second one is 15 minutes, after 5 minutes, the session will not disconnect. It will still remain active until 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, says, okay, I'm not even seeing any responses. Let us disconnect the session. But most of the cases, these two values are same. You can see that from call manager. Min SE and session expiry will be the same. Let me utilize ChatGPT. Explain me min SE and session expiry. You have the explanation. You guys continue exploring yourself, but this is what it says.
Yeah, I'm learning from here to Genesis.
Okay. All right, so that's what it is. Now let's move on to the another one. So we are talking about the SIP request methods, right? The English words like invite, ACK, buy, all those things. I'm coming to the responses later. So ACK is used to acknowledge the final response to an invite. We have seen that transaction, right? Invite is initial, then 100 trying, 100 ringing, 200 okay, ACK. So it's a final response to the initial invite. Final response to invite request will be 200 okay. Final response to all other, yeah. So let's take that sample again. So if I send an invite, the final response is 200 okay. And ACK is like only in 200 okay case I'll be sending an ACK. So that is a unique speciality of invite. So this ACK is used along with invite. Rest of the messages you will see only responses to like 200 okay, 180 ringing, something, so that type of thing. ACK will be only sent in this particular case. You receive a 200 okay, and then again, it's not actually a response to the invite. It's actually the response to the final response. Let's say this way. This is your request, right? SIP request. The final response to this request is what? 200 okay. This is the response, right? Final response. To confirm that final response, we have an ACK message here. This is what it says. used to acknowledge the final response to invite. Final response is 200 OK. Acknowledging that 200 OK, we usually send a ACK message. Final response to invite request will be 200 OK. Yeah, that's what it is. Final response to all other requests are never acknowledged, like 180 ringing, 200 OK, all those things will be never acknowledged. Final response are defined by 2xs, 1xs, 2xs, 3xs, etc., etc., all those. The C sequence number is never incremented for an ACK message. That means if I see an invite here, where is invite? This is my invite, right? So here I have my C sequence number. Yeah, previously I was talked about a C sequence will be unique for the not the transaction, for the entire dialog it will be unique, I guess. Okay, so the C sequence is one invite here. You can see in the ACK message, you have the same sequence, C sequence number. From here you can understand this ACK is for my initial invite. Rest of the fields are the same, from to, max, forward, all those things carry the same value. The only unique thing here is about the C sequence number. So by looking at the C sequence number, I can tell that this ACK is for which invite. Is that for the first invite, or if the session is more than 15 minutes, of course, there will be re-invite. So is this ACK for some re-invite or something? So I can easily tell by looking into the C sequence number. So that is the ACK message. Then we have something called buy. It's another request or method, right? Used to terminate the media session. Like when I disconnect the call, this is the new message. And this is a form of buy message. Or again, the C sequence will be a unique here. New dialog. That means, okay, it should be new transaction, I guess. Attend the transaction. Yeah, so a buy will be acknowledged by another response, right? So buy 200 OK will be there. To segregate those guys, let's take this example then. So where is the buy message here? Buy is F18, then 200 OK for that buy is F21. So if you look into F18 and 21, F18, so this is your buy message. You can see C sequence is 4, C sequence 4. And let's see 21, right? 21 is the response for that. There also you can see it's same. So then you can understand this 200 OK is for this particular buy message. Personally, I usually follow this way. Okay, this is the response, this is the request, and this is the specific response for that invite, sorry, that request. That's why I call this C sequence. When it goes to transaction or dialog, again, I'll get confused. So you imagine you send a buy and you need to get a response for the buy. That response will have the same message, same C sequence number. Again, rest of the headers are the same, via, from, to, etc. the same. Then cancel. So at what point I'll be sending a cancel? If the call is not established, that means the other party disconnected the call. You're calling someone, they reject your call, or when they reject the call, that is a different scenario. Okay, you call someone and you yourself disconnected. You dial a number and you decide, okay, I don't want to call. You disconnect immediately. At that moment, there will be a cancel message because you're not establishing the media. So before establishing the actual call, the session is getting terminated. Then we need cancel message. We can replicate that as well. We can make a call and see when I disconnect the call, a cancel message will be there. So these are our SIP request. That means invite, ACK, cancel, buy, then options. Options is another one. By the way, this is not taken from the Microsoft Teams side. I have taken from CUCM side itself. So options is basically, it's a ping message. Hello, are you available? Yes, I am available. Just to make sure the session active or the SIP session active. That's what we have seen in the SBCs, right? When I deploy the SBC, I can see that. Let me open one second. I didn't open the lab. And where is our sample user? By the way, I have hosted an SBC also there, https://sbc.aj collab.xyz. It's my audio code SBC. If you look at the SBC, I have both sides connected. And if I go to my voice direct routing, I can see this options ping status. Even if options ping is inactive, your calls still work, but this makes sure that, okay, they are exchanging some messages saying that, are you available? Yes, I am available here. So that establishes, or that is responsible for giving you these green color things there. It's like a keep alive mechanism. Okay, so that is options message. Those are the pretty common request messages. Like when I send an English letter, English word like invite, by, all those things are categorized as SIP request. Now let's consider about the response, like 100 trying, 200, okay, all those things. Those are here. There are a lot of messages in the responses. We don't need to study all, but at least we need to understand. So the first series is called 1xx series, which is informational. The most common things are 100 try. We know that, right? When the things are extending to the other side, we usually send 100 try. Another one is called 180 ringing. When the remote side is ringing, we get 180 ringing. Then 182 call queued, 183 session progress. That's also we have seen in early media. There's no D here. So these are informational messages. Now let's see, the other one is called 2xx series, which is 200 okay, 2 not to accepted. All those two messages are called 200 series, which is like a success response. It is connected or successful. If it is transfer, you will see something like this, 2 not to accepted. So those are success messages. 1xx is informational, 2xx is success. Then 3xx, in our scenario, we haven't seen 3xx. This is basically if you are redirecting the number, like call forward configured, or you're transferring the call to somebody else. That time you will see the new, means you need to get the new party, right? You forwarded all your number to a different user. When call comes to you, it has to be extended. Okay, now you need to send the call to a different guy. That is using based on 3xx. Again, multiple vendors will have their own way of implementing things. Maybe in one PBX you will see 300 multiple choices for the same call transfer scenario or call forward scenario. Some other PBX you will see something 301 or 302. It's again depending on the vendor who implement that. So 3 series means basically redirects. The reason I'm explaining all these things because these are some of the interview questions they will ask. Okay, they will not say, okay, what is 305? They'll say, okay, what is the redirect message, or what do you mean by 3xx message? You are getting a 3xx message. What is the meaning? So of course a redirect message. Then fourth one, we have seen multiple for error, right? For not found, 400 bad request. When we were troubleshooting that caller ID issues, we have seen this for not for multiple times. So client error, it's on the client side, there is some error, which is called 4xx. So it will be most of the time a configuration error, like they are not able to find the number. If the number is wrong or you misdial some number, of course you will get for not found. Bad request also we had seen. Then what else? These are the other message. You can always go through it. The document is available there. And server error, which is 500, that is also common. We have seen that 503 server is unavailable most of the time. If some server configuration, like with respect to if it is cube, if you don't have proper dial peer configured, we will start here seeing this 503 server is unavailable. Then I haven't seen this in my career. Global failure, 600. So 600 means some disaster. There will be something serious going on. You will see 4, 5, those are the errors. But when it comes to 6, I didn't see 6 much often. But in the as per the SIP documentation, there is a series called 6x as well. 6x as well. That is for global failures. But I haven't seen these messages in any of the logs. So these are the responses. 1, 2. 1 means like informational. 2 is like success. 3 like redirection. 4 error. 5 error. 6 error. 4, 5, 6 all errors. 4 is client error. 5 is server error. 6 is like global failures. So Those are the responses. Now what we're gonna do is, since we discussed a lot of theory, yeah, by the way, any questions, guys? In those messages, all this document is linked over here. You can go and download this guy, SIP Deep Dive ebook.
AJ, I have one question. So,
Yes.
as a global failure is mostly from the telco side or from the any SIPs server side?
I think it's from the server side itself, but I haven't seen this coming into any of the messages.
Okay.
So yeah, try to replicate your scenario, then break it and see if you are getting. I see 5 most of the time if some
I
configurations are
actually
missing.
I just working on one of the clients. So I received a message from the gateway that 603 error that is
603.
coming from that is coming from the telco side. So that's why I'm asking you. That is from the telco side, basically.
It depends on the side, right? If telco is one, it's all SIP servers. Telco is one SIP server, your side is also another SIP server. If it is coming from their side, of course there will be some, yeah, this is decline. Response code typically sent when the called party or the server does not wish to participate in the session for some reason. You have to understand what is that reason. You need to contact telco itself for that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
You are the luckiest
I
one.
have,
Yeah.
one question I have. So what is the difference between that session, minimum session and option? So I think
Okay.
both.
So the minimum session is basically for a call, okay, a live call. I'm talking to you. We have a live call. But say imagine you disconnect the call, my SBC and your server, they are still exchanging saying that okay, I am here, you are there. That's for the options is used for that. Server to server keep alive.
Got it.
Yeah.
Understood.
Other one is for the actual call. I'm talking to you, that
Yes,
particular
right.
session. That's the difference.
Right. Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, hi Ajay.
Yes.
I have one query. Yeah, so from the SIP messages, is there any parameter where we can understood that from which party is sending this message and which party is getting this message?
Of course.
Yeah, can you please
Yeah.
let us know?
So you tell me which message I wanted to pick from this. Tell me a random message.
Any message you can
Okay.
pick it. Yeah.
So I'll go and randomly take this invites. Okay. So I don't again and the audio course I can get to know this is going from where to where, but without looking into that, I will say okay, this is coming from where is it going? So first thing I will look if you have the server user agent stuff there. Okay. So here user agent shows median SC blah 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 blah. So of course I will say that the originator of this message will be who? My audio codes SBC, right? Is it clear?
Okay.
Yeah. So I can say that this is my, let me draw that, and then it make more sense. I have A, B, C here. A is my teams, B is my SBC. I should have written teams here. Teams, SBC, and PSTN. I took a random invite. Okay. I don't know which invite is that. I took a random invite. Above the invite, audio codes display for our convenience. They display that, okay, this is going from here to here. But from this invite, I need to tell where that particular invite is going on. So I initially looked into that user agent. Then I understood, okay, user agent is median SC something. So this guy is the originator. Then even if the originator, I have two choices, right? It can be here or it can be here. Now I need to identify that direction. So let's go and see remaining stuff. So this is one type. Then contacts. Do I have contacts? Okay. Yeah. So I have contact information here. In the contact it says 172, 191. Okay. What is this? Okay. I didn't get anything from that. Invite via from to C in equal to 172, 191. Okay, that's the public IP address of my, yeah. From the contact itself, this is a public IP address of my SBC, 172.191, 19.115. So from here I can tell, I'm saying the other party, okay, I need to get the other side, right, Twilio side. So where should I find that? Yeah, let us consider the to field. But getting the direction from the to field is not actually right, because to will be always the same. Okay, we'll consider this again. So in the to field, I'll see ajcollab02.pstn.twilio.com. From here, I can somehow correlate that, okay, this is going towards the ajcollab02.pstn.twilio.com. So from and to, one more thing you need to identify, means keep in mind, every message that once it originates, the from and to will never change. The from will be always from, even for if you are getting a responses in this way, you send an invite, right? So what is the from? From is Tom Cruise, to is your mobile number. If you're getting 100 trying, there will be also a from and to. Direction of the message change, but your from and to will be always the same for the entire section. That from and to will never change. So from this I understood that to is pstn.twilio.com. Of course, that is going towards the other side, right? So that way I understood, okay, this, considering this sequence, sorry, this user agent and this two, I decided, okay, this message will be going out to PSTN side. So I came to this is my own way of identification. I say, okay, there's an outbound invite which is going towards Microsoft Twilio side. And if you want to confirm that, in the audio codes it shows invite device is this going to this particular IP. But they haven't written that anywhere. This IP, they haven't written that anywhere. But basically, this ajclub02.pstn.twilio.co will be resolving into this IP. So from here, they understood that. So I can tell that way. We'll take one more random example. Okay. So we'll say this one, 183 session progress. So if I look the first line, I'll be able to understand. So 183 session progress, this message I wanted to tell, this is originated by whom and where is it going? So it says server is median SC. Of course, it is originated from the SBC itself. And let's see the two, sbc.ajcollab.com. Okay, so this is going to contacts. Let's see. Record route. This message say please contact me on this side. Where is it going to? So how should I identify that too? Looking at the two, it is okay. This is my yeah. So Twilio side, I was able to see Twilio, right? So I'm expecting, I'm assuming that this guy will be towards my Microsoft Teams side, because my Microsoft Teams domain is sbc.ajcollab.com, which is in that direction. So I will say this particular message is originated by the SBC and it is going towards Microsoft Teams side. So let's just scroll a bit up and see. Yeah, device is this. This is Microsoft Teams itself. Yeah. So from here I can understand. So this is my logic, but there are different ways you can identify based on from and to you can create. But once you understand all the field, you can clearly say that, okay, this message is coming from here and going there. And this is how I usually do. Hope it is clear. It's my own analysis.
Yeah, it is clear. But AJ, here again, the two is different, right? As you said, that it is always same, but in the previous message and this message, two is different, right?
No, two
The
is in the
previous one,
sense,
it was a
one call leg I am saying. Let's go and consider this leg. Okay. F1, F2, F6, F8. All these messages from and to will be same. Let's take an example of F1 and F2. F1 is actually this direction, right? Which is coming from Teams to device. Device is your SBC. And the 100 trying is actually the response for that. So I'm imagining from and to from the F1. From is Tom Cruise. To is my mobile number. So how about this 100 trying? It's a response. It should flip it, right? That's a logical thing. But in SIP, it will be always the same. So let us consider F1 and F2. From is Tom Cruise. To is this. We'll highlight this, okay. Till here we highlight. This is 2.
So you mean in particular lag it will be same, right?
Yes. So now if you look at F2 under trying, what happened to this? 2 is same, but what is the difference in the 5061? Is there any difference in this? 1 second. I'll copy this. Okay, F1 and F2 from and to I will copy to a notepad. Copy this into a notepad. And the F2, which is 100 trying, I'll copy the from and to into a new notepad session. So this will be always the same. There won't be any difference in that. Yeah. Tom Cruise, numbers, it.pst. Then where was it changed? Something changed.
Is a space between.
Yeah, there is a small space. That is okay.
Due to of that reason is not selected.
Yeah, that's the reason it was not getting highlighted. Those things are okay for the guy who is processing that SIP message. They understand that, okay, if a space I can ignore, all those things are already taken care by the software programming inside the device or server whoever is processing it. There was a space, that's the reason I was not able to highlight those. But from and to will be always same in that leg. The F1, F2, F6, F8, F9, all these things from and to will be the same. Again, from and to will be same here again. The number will not change, that the server portion will change because here I am sending to SBC. Now I am sending to PSTN side. So that ajcollab02.pstn, that portion will be getting added. So if I look at F3, let's take F3. F3 is this. I'm copying the from and to.
Also, AJ,
Yeah.
through call ID also we can able to identify.
Call
right,
ID is
each call.
the unique value. Yeah, call ID.
Unique value.
Don't consider for from and to, but call ID will say this belongs to that. But I need to see the direction, right? So for direction, I usually depend on the to field, and then I can understand. Okay, this is what it is. Call ID is call ID is always the same. To highlight the entire portion, to get the entire section, you can easily highlight the call ID. But when it comes to the advanced SBCs like audio codes or ribbon, they give you the diagram itself, right? In Cisco, they don't give you any diagram. You need a translatrix to get that. But if you get a diagram like this is nice and beautiful for audio codes, right? I like this implementation. I don't want to do any type of call ID matching or anything. I can easily tell F1, F2, F6, F8, all these are this direction. These are the other direction. They have done a pretty nice job in that log collection. I'll show you how you can create a diagram like this. All right, so this is another message which is going from our SBC to PSTN side. So only thing they are changing is the domain portion. So here it is SIP PSTN hub.microsoft, but when it goes from the SBC, it changes to this one. So in the destination side, in the to field, here SBC.aj because you are sending to the SBC, but from SBC now you are sending to the PSTN side. So those portion will change, but the ID and number, that is always the same. All right, so using this method, you can identify which message, which direction, all those things. Now I will show you a real call with an early media also. Let us replicate one early media scenario as well and see how that looks like. So first let's do one thing. Let's make a live call and answer it, and then we'll do some early media stuff. So here, this is what we have discussed. This log viewer, you can do a remote collection. Just click connect to, and then give your SBC user ID, password, and then click connect. And you will start seeing the log messages here itself. Of course, in the audio codes SBC, you have to enable the logging. 1 second. Go to troubleshoot and look for logging settings. Make sure your VoIP debug level is detailed. Okay, then you will see the SIP logs in the syslog viewer. I'm going to make a Teams call, a call from Teams to my mobile number and answer it. It will be a successful call. getting the call. Answer. Hello, hello. Done. So I'm going to disconnect from my mobile side. That means you see that buy message coming from the PSTN side. We'll see that. Going back to the audio courses log viewer. What is it? Like yeah. So invite 52 is our Microsoft Teams, 54 is Twilio. So invite came with SDP. You can click here and go through the SDP here. So Microsoft says, what is my C in IP? 52.115.100.205. So when my remote party sends the media, please send it to this. And where is my M line? Yeah, audio. This is the port number, RTP. Again, it is a secure RTP. These are the codec I support. So they shared already in the first SDP itself. That means it's an early offer call flow. So early offer, 100 trying came back. Then invite extended to my audio, PSTN side, 100 trying. But here I don't have 180 ringing. Instead of that, the PSTN is sending a session progress message. Again, I can ask that question to Twilio, why you guys are sending session progress? You guys should send us something else. But it's okay. This is their way of implementation. They say session progress. They send that session progress along with an SDP. It's okay. That is their, again, their way of implementation. When they send session progress, they will also add their side SDP. That is getting forwarded.
It's called early media, right? Here, 183.
We can call it as early media, but this is not even acknowledgement. There is no prac message here. So you just got the session progress. I kind of ignore that. I don't send any response to the session progress there. Okay. So you can ignore this. Even there are some students, they'll say, okay, I collect the logs. This is not what you discussed in the class. That is, we crossed that age, guys. Okay. Don't correlate that and come back and say that in this diagram, we have 183 session progress, but in your diagram, we see 180 ringing. It's all your logic. If you're not able to digest it, go dig deeper, understand what is 183, then that will make more sense for you. Don't send me this picture tomorrow saying that your explanation you have given us 180 ringing, but in this it is showing 183 session progress. Like I said, each vendor implementation will be different. What you see on the theoretical side will not be always 100% correct in the practical implementation. So this is a successful call, right? But here you see 183 session progress. That is still okay. So you got a 183 session progress, you received it, you kind of ignore it. Then I am answering the call, so I have 200 okay. So in the 200 okay, I'll be sending the remote side SDP, which is Twilio side SDP. So Twilio says, what is my C in? C in, yeah. 168.84.133.96. This 196. This is Twilio's media server IP. Then they're saying we support 08101. 0 means G711 ULO and G711 ALO. There are two codecs they are saying. Yeah, that's a small change over there, right? Usually SDP will be an offer and answer method. Like you offer whatever you support and then you get an answer. In that, let's see what is happening. So in the answer, you are getting 2. So this is the answer. Now SBC is sending that to Microsoft Teams. In that answer, we'll see what are the codec they are saying. They are also saying 0 or 8. Okay, so is there any confusion now? There is a confusion, right? Because initially Microsoft said we support all these, and now the response to Microsoft is getting, okay, let us connect on 0 or 8. 0 means PCM ULO, 8 means PCM. PCM is G711. Okay, so G711 ALO or MULO, which one they will agree now? That's the question. They can talk only in one language. So which language they take? Tell me, guys.
0, first one, right?
And we need to check acknowledgement.
No, acknowledgement, there is no SDP, right? SDP is like offer and invite I sent, early offer. 200 okay, I get response. This is early offer, right? Invite and 200 okay. So,
both are the 8, like the KH, I forgot of that. 8 one, right? Kilobyte or something.
Yeah, that is okay. But invite, I see many codecs, right? The initial invite, I see lot of codecs. Response, I see still 2 codec. I was expecting 1 codec. I can only talk in one language. But here I see 2 things. So some vendors, what they do is they will pick the first one. Okay, they'll say, okay, 0 is the one. So we'll say PCM ULO, that means G711 ULO, let us start communicating. But someone will say, okay, we'll do one more renegotiation in form of a re-invite. That's where you see one more invite here. So let's go and dig deeper into this invite. Why they are sending one more invite? There is an acknowledgement message coming up here, but they are sending one more invite with SDP. This invite is called re-invite. By the way, you don't see a re in between of that. You need to imagine the same session. If you see one more invite, that is your re-invite. So if I open the re-invite, we'll see. Again, the M equal to audio line, we have a lot of lot of codecs. So that re-invite is forwarded to till your side with these many. Then 100 trying 200 okay. So 200 okay is coming back. We'll see 08 again. Here also you will see 08 again. Again confusion. You have 0 or 8, G711, ALO or ULO. So in this case, what they do is they try to renegotiate again. Of course, when you see another invite, there'll be few things changing. One is port number or the media. So let's see the port number also in the first one. So in the first SDP, in the M equal to audio, my port number is 50324. Okay. In the second invites, my port number is 50324. Is it similar, right? 50324. Yeah, so they're not changing anything on the invite. Invite, I'm saying this is my IP address, here also in my IP address. So they tried to do a renegotiation. They tried to fix one SDP, but the Tilio is always sending, okay, we support these two, we support these two. Then they finally agree on one, which will be G711 ALO, which is in the first list of this 200. Okay, this will be the.
One question. I'm
Yeah.
not sure whether it's correct or not.
Mm.
So you are saying in the invite we are sending the SDP, right?
Yeah.
The codec details. In Cisco, we usually create in a dial pair like early media forced like that. Okay, in Cisco, in dial pair or but in Teams, how we need to be done?
That's what I said. Microsoft Teams said we cannot control that behavior. It will be
Oh.
always early offer. We don't have a mechanism or a button where you can go and click to early offer or delayed offer. Microsoft Teams, any invite that is coming from Teams side, it's always early offer. But
Okay.
yeah, but in the SBC, like in Cube, audio code, ribbon, whatever device you have, you can change that behavior. You can set that to delayed offer. Of course, we need to see the documentation. In Cisco, it by default it is delayed offer. If you write a command like early offer forced, that will be again early offer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so here two invite, right? There is another question I used to get from students. So why there are two invite? So one invite sent, they try to negotiate the codec. They failed to get one codec, so they retried one more time. Okay, can we support just one codec? Again, they are failing there because in the 200, okay, I'm still getting 0 and 8, which is G711, ULO and ALO. So they'll say, okay, we'll go with the 0, 1, means which is the first one. We'll agree on that codec. So the communication will be happening on G711 ULO, and they will be acknowledging that. And then when I disconnect, because this particular call, I disconnected from my mobile. So I get a buy, means I send means PSTN is sending a buy message. Buy is forwarded to team side. You're getting 200 OK back. You're getting 200 OK back. So the diagram which I explained in the class, that's a reference diagram. With that, you can understand your scenario. You don't expect the same diagram will be there for your scenario always. You will see a lot of surprise messages, but now you understand how you deal that surprises. You can go dig deeper into those messages and identify. Now, I was talking about early media, right? Let us create a scenario for early media. How will I create? I'll put my phone into flight mode so that when I call this number, the provider will say, sorry, this number is not reachable. So that's an early media, right? I'm not paying anything for that. My provider will not start billing for that to get that announcement. Of course, that will be an early media, but we'll see how Microsoft has implemented that early media. All right. Before that, is this clear? This diagram clear, guys?
Yeah, but after then, can you explain how can you take it this diagram on your notepad?
Okay. From here itself, I can explain. So in the log, there is an option called export. Export session, export diagram as txt, export diagram HTML. Select this option, export flow diagram as txt. Then let me save it to desktop itself. New call. Save it. Now you have your nice looking call. Yeah, so this is that file. Open it. Let me bring it up here. You got it. F1, F2, F3. So this is easy. When you're working with audio code support team, just generate this and send it to them. They will be happy.
So by default is come F1, F2 because I don't see the like a real syslog place, and here is coming by default, right? F1, F2, F3 like
Yeah,
that.
they are numbering it F1, F2, F3 for our
Okay,
sake
that's
of
it.
understanding. It's easy, right? For
Thank you.
example, I wanted to see this 200 OK. There are many 200 OKs here, right? If they are not putting this F7, I should be struggling a bit to identify which 200 OK is my 200 OK. So if I see F7 means I can simply search F7 and go and see, okay, this is the 200 OK coming from this guys.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go and see one early media, but this is the cache here, right? We discussed about early media is like you will have 183 session progress, prac, all those things, but in this particular implementation you don't see anything. So I'll put my phone into flight mode, okay? Then debugs are enabled already. Let me make one call from this. Excuse me. What happened? Nothing. Nothing is there.
ನೀವು ಡಯಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರತವಾಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ತಲುಪಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯ.
It says ನೀವು dial ಮಾಡಿದ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ no, it's in Kannada. So my number is from Karnataka, by the way. So they're saying your number is not reachable right now. I hear that. I will not be able to. The recordings, it will be available. You guys can watch the recording, but I cannot send that to you in this microphone. Anyway, I was able to hear that greetings from the provider side saying that the number is not reachable. Technically, it's an early media, right? I didn't bill for anything. My provider will not charge for anything, but I heard one audio message. So let's go and see how they implemented that. Let's freeze it. Go to I. What is my last call? This is the call. Yes. So I send invites, 100 trying, which is SBC send that invite to PSTN side, 100 trying, 183 session progress, still here is the same. So at this point, the cancel is after some time, right? If you see the difference, I have 19, then around 40 seconds, I disconnected from my side. So till this point, if you only imagine invite and 182 session progress, they were able to send me the media. So that means they exchange the media using initial invite and SDP in the session progress message. No prac, no ACK, no 200 OK, but still they were able to deliver that to me. So I cannot say that it's a wrong implementation, right? This is the way of Microsoft implemented it or the Tilio side implemented it. So with this, they're able to successfully deliver that early media to me. So whatever you learn in the theory section, you can compare and correlate and say tomorrow you can come back and say that, okay, you talk me about the session progress, prac message, 200 OK, all those logical things, but we don't see anything here, but still early media is working. So that's how simply is implemented. Each vendor will have their own way of implementation. The way Tilio handles this way. So if they get an early media, they always send the session progress. Even for normal call, they are sending the session progress, right? But at this case, they help us to hear the initial media, which is the number is not reachable. So that's how it is. The theory concept can only help you in the technical things like technical interviews, but the practical understanding will help you to troubleshoot live calls. So you have to do both. Cool. Further questions, guys?
Hi, Abdul. You can simulate a CO3 declined call by rejecting instead of answering the call, you can reject the call in your mobile phone.
Yeah, let's see that. So I will disable my flight mode. Okay, now it's ready. Let us go and reject the call. Good idea. Let's see what happens. Again, calling my mobile number. It is ringing. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect.
ನೀವು ನೀವು ಡಯಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರತವಾಗಿದೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನಂತರ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸಿ. आपके द्वारा डायल किया गया नंबर अभी व्यस्त है. कृपया कुछ समय पश्चात प्रयास करें. The number you have dialed is currently busy. Please try later.
So it announced me in 3 different languages: Kannada, then Hindi, and English. The last one is the number you're calling is busy. Please try again later. So after means giving this message in 3 different languages, they themselves disconnected. I didn't do any disconnect button. They themselves disconnected. So let's go and see the logs for this particular call. Yes. So again, invite came from the team side. 100 trying, invite, 100 trying, session progress, session progress. At this point, I was able to see the difference is here, right? 39, 43, and 40, almost 1 minute. I was in the call itself. I was able to hear that the other party is not reachable. Please try again later. Then how that disconnect automatically happen? They send a temporary unavailable message. Means till you send me 480 temporarily unavailable. With that, I disconnected that call. So this is another example of a live call. Hope that is clear. Yes, no, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So implement one SBC, try making all these possible scenarios, try to do a transfer and see how the call looks like. Always the theoretical, whatever you study, that will be always have almost 30-40% difference when you implement that practically. You should have that, what do you call that mentality to understand and digest. Okay, this is how practically it works. This is only theoretical. Theory can help you only in interviews. But when you actually thrown into a troubleshooting scenario, by looking at the theory diagram, you will not be able to isolate one call. Why this is not happening? Why this is not happening? That you need to have that patience and interest to learn more things. And you can dig deeper. For example, you got a temporarily not available message. Then you don't see this message before. Then go back and ask Google or ChatGPT what is or not available. At what scenario they're gonna send this. So that's the way you further learn yourself. All right. Okay. Any other questions, guys? I was planning to do that PowerShell also today, but unfortunately we didn't get time. By the way, those PowerShell commands are already added here. If you go to our Teams learning documents, sorry, the learning portal, these are the PowerShell commands. I will touch base on this tomorrow, how we can install and connect all those things. Installing PowerShell module, creating a user, connecting cloud services, get details about the user, creating a channel, all those things are available here. We'll address few of the things tomorrow if you guys are, because there was a question from someone, I don't recall exactly who asked that question, how to enable enterprise voice for a single user. So this is the command for that. So most of the command I have added here, and most of the questions are also answered. You can go through it. Tomorrow we're gonna explain what is PowerShell, how to install this module, basically connecting to Teams and creating a user we can try, or we can create multiple users, that also we can try tomorrow. Then we're going to be explaining about interview related stuff, like how you can market yourself. For that, there is a resume template also added here. You don't just copy paste this. I'll explain how you can build a nice looking resume. By the way, these are the skills which we learned from the fast tracking training. I added only that. Okay, you can expand that more. This is with respect to the specific training. What are the skills that you gained? You can add that. Then tomorrow we'll create one nice looking resume as well. So that will be our last class. And I need a small help from you guys. Just go to Google and then type for AJ Labs training. You will see my Google profile here. Go to reviews and type whatever you feel. Okay, because there was a negative comment from someone saying that, okay, I requested for positive feedback. I'm not requesting any positive feedback. If you feel whatever you feel, okay, you attended this class, whatever you feel, you write in a genuine way, so that review can be always transparent. This is what I usually send for new inquiry when someone comes to me and ask about trainings. I usually send this page so they can go through it and understand how I teach, what level of support I am providing. Please do it. If you wanted to rate me negatively also, you can do that. Still fine, and it's all a transparent review. Even if you rate me negatively, I cannot control it. It's all Google control. As long as you are stick to the standard, that review will be always there. So It is easy. I'll also send you the link in the chat, WhatsApp chat itself. Go and review something. If you don't have some time to type reviews, at least rate me the star rating and submit it. That will take only 1 or 2 minutes. That's it. Not even 1 or 2 minutes, 1 or 2 seconds. Cool. Anything else for today? Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, I'll summarize and we'll wrap it up.
Ajay, one thing like yeah,
Go
teams to teams calling, the signaling will be HTTP API, you said, like
Yes,
so. This is for the phone call, like Teams phone call to your mobile. So in this also, like from your Teams application to Teams, it will be HTTP API.
Yes,
After that, it will be SIP.
yes, that is still there. So between the Microsoft Teams and the phone, it is HTTP again. And there is no much documentation available to see how that call actually established. Let me show you a few things. MS Teams to MS Teams call flow. They have some document. Microsoft Teams call flows. Something like this. This is their call flow. So you can go through it. Saying flow to represent flow initiated by user, non-customer network in the internet, blah blah blah. There are something. It's all HTTP call. There is no standard SIP messages over there. Purely HTTP messages. This link, I will add it here in the read more section. And I haven't seen anybody is asking this question in the interview because they themselves are clueless about that particular call. But if you wanted to be an excel in that, go ahead and refer this link. You get all the flows, media related. This is, I think, yeah, Teams call flows. They have pretty much different scenarios how the call works. Next question, guys.
Abdul,
yeah,
I have one question about something like if we want to build one helpline phone number, and at that time in the Teams direct routing, I'm asking. At that time, we need to buy another phone number from that PSTN partner rather than the DID.
It means one DID can be assigned to a user or an IVR call flow. Basically, there is something called auto attendant and IVR call queues available in Microsoft Teams, where you can create an auto answering resource account. They call it as resource account. Then that number you need to assign to that resource account. Of course, you need a different number.
Yeah, that I understand. But my question is something like, do we need any other license or something?
Yes. So we create something called resource account for that matter. 1 second. Go to Teams admin center. Resource account. Resource account. These are the account that you create for that. When you create a resource account here, this is the only account that you can create from the Teams account. That will get reflected on the Teams admin center. Sorry, Microsoft admin center. There you need to assign these two licenses, font system licenses as well as basic Teams licenses. In our case, Teams Essential and Teams Font System Standard. Those two things you need to assign there. Yeah, go ahead.
Regex for use for like the full DID range, like the suppose 416289 10012 like the 100 or 200 numbers. How can that we do that? Because this is one of my project ongoing Genesis, and I required of that one.
Okay, I will explain this.
And I don't find out that is a last disease is that 1 to 1000 duplicate, but I don't find out the front.
We'll design that. Before that, let me ask any other question for other guys. Okay, no question means class.
Not a question, but just a request that along with resume building a request, just have a bit more word on LinkedIn as well tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. My marketing strategy will be always based out of LinkedIn. Resume, LinkedIn strategies, and Naukri I haven't tried, but students used to say they are getting calls from Naukri as well. We'll consider all of that.
Thanks a lot.
No props. Yeah, so classes are over. I'll just explain this regex for today and then we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so what's your requirement? You tell me your exact number and what you need to do with that.
Like full DID,
Yeah,
like
give me a sample
10
DID.
digits. 647 914 1001.
Okay.
200 number.
Yeah.
Last 4 digits.
Okay. So, and you need a regular expression to match this.
Yeah.
So this is your.
But it's a range. Okay, it's like they don't require the range. It's not required the separately.
Yeah. So this is how the numbers, right? 1001, 02, 03, 04, and last number will be
200. Yeah, 100. What still currently they go for 100.
Okay. Well, this will be the last number. I need a single regular expression to match all of that. Is that the requirement?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that is easy, right? So first you take till here it is the same, right? So copy that, group into one. So you match that. Then you have remaining values changes from, yeah, like 3 dot would be fine. Yes, you got this. This is your regular expression for that. And if you want specifically it match that 100, now this will match even 200 also. For example, till 999 it matches. Last 3 digit. Till 999 it matches. If you want, okay, only 0 to 100 means I will change this into a different group again. Here I will put 0 to 1. So how will I use that? Square brackets. Yeah. So I'll say first thing first till for 1, that is same. Then this value, right? This value changes from 0 to 1. That's all the change, right? When I go from 0 to 100, the value changes from 0 to 1. That's it. So I'll put in the square bracket, change from 0 to 1. So 0 and 1, that's the only possible value. The rest of the things can be 0 to 99, 0 to 99. So dot dot. So this will represent that numbers. It will not match the 999, only match till 100, means 199. Again, if you wanted to go till that second value, you can further customize this. Take this out and then see that how much it changes. That way you can create.
And how can like the substitution, how can it work on that one?
What do you wanted to substitute for this? Means what change you
Currently is nothing they tell to, because I have tomorrow meeting and I will explain of that one. No, my team is with me, but again, just like the
so you can convert this to for only 4 digit, means I'm gonna see if I need an internal DID, means internal extension number, I will take the last 4
This
digit.
is full DID. They bought it full DID from outside. Like actually is Lumens is provide the DID, and we are using the SBC Lumens SBC.
Okay. So if I was in that situation, I will create this way. One means the first digit, then $2 and $3. That means it converted into 4 digit extensions until that number. This is not applicable in that.
Just give me 1 minute. I take the screenshot.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly your requirement. I just on whatever you said, I understood and I created this. But you can always use the regex 101 tool.
Yeah, this is just for help to me, because of reason they have just sent it the like the around 5 hours ago email for the topic discussed tomorrow.
Okay.
That's the reason I need to some talk,
No
later
worries,
on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Yes.
Yeah, I have one question here that in this example. So these are the DID phone numbers, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in case of, for example, we have two things here. We are going to assign 20 DIDs to 20 user, and other user, they don't want DIDs, they just want the non-DID phone numbers. Means like with the extension. In that case, how to...
Within Teams, you are saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Teams user, the problem with the Teams users, you cannot assign a user with an extension only. So when you are assigning a number to a user, you must assign a DID number. That's how it is currently designed. I'll show you that.
Actually, for us, we have a DID phone number, and we are assigning extra extension to other users. Means like who do those guys that don't need the DID number. Means like they don't want to receive call from outside. They just want to do the outside call. So
Okay.
those users.
I am dropping you in between. What I understood is you have a DID, but you don't need to assign that DID to a user. Instead, they wanted to have an extension to call in between, and they also can make external calls. Is that the question?
Yeah. So here my question is something like if we have two things here. So in our example, it is something like DID number we are assigning, right?
Yeah.
So in our case, we have DID phone numbers and as well as we have non-DID numbers, means like with the extension. Yeah. So in that case, how to build that regular expression?
Okay. So first thing, for a user, when you're assigning a number, DID is mandatory. Okay, so you must assign that DID, whatever single DID for all of us, right? For all of the user, you assign that, then only you can add an extension. Adding only an extension is not possible. Now let's come back to the regex 101. You're saying you are assigning a DID, and then each user is having different extension, right? So you're gonna populate this field.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, you're gonna populate that field. Then your number becomes this way: colon ext equal to 1001. So this would be your format in that case, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the only way when you assign a number in Microsoft Teams. This is how it looks like. If you assign number and DID, so these are all same. Okay. 1 second. So I hope my understanding is correct. You have one DID with different extension. Okay. Now what is the requirement? You need to call them separately.
The requirement is something like they can do the outside calls.
They
It's
can
like
do
they
the
can
okay.
call.
Yeah, of course they can do the outside call. Okay. So when they do the this way it works. You can assign a DID and a user, and when this user calls, his from address becomes the same number. So the mapping you have to do is this number. I will group that into one set. Okay. Then colon ext equal to. So this is your matching. You need to replace that. Okay. Of course, that will be a header message manipulation. This will be a matching. When any user calls outside from this organization, it's gonna match this way. So you need to match that SBC in such a way that when that maps, you only consider $1. This will be your change. So only DID will be getting forwarded to the PSTN side. This way you can implement. Give the DID extension number to all the user different extension, and when the calls are going towards the PSTN side, the from field changes, right? Currently the from field will have that ext equal to. So you are stripping off that ext with this value. So only DID will be there. So whatever I understood from your explanation, I can give you this. I don't know whether it is answers or not.
Okay, so I think it's a kind of 50% correct answer, but my question is something like, for example, we have two cases. Okay, so this is for the users. Those don't want the DID phone numbers. They just want to do the outside calls. Okay, they just wanted to call to outside our organization. Okay, but in our case, we have another situation. Means like people have the DID phone numbers and they are doing the outside and means like they're outbound and the inbound calls. Okay, so they are getting calls and they're also receiving doing the outside of the organization calls. Okay. Yeah, so my question was something like, can we create one regular expression with just one expression that can match both the cases?
I don't understand this part because without assigning a DID, how will you assign an extension number here? That is not even possible.
No. Actually, we have a DID. Okay, so we have a DID with the extension. Okay, so
so this is the case, right? You have a DID and an extension.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
the second case is something we have 20 extra DIDs.
Okay.
So we are assigning to other users.
Okay.
So I'm just asking, is it possible to create only one expression?
Now I got
entire...
it. So you have a different DID. Let's say this is another DID without extension. Right?
Yeah, correct. Okay. Yeah.
Now both of these two users wants to make external calls.
Yeah.
And you need only one regular expression for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the second DID? Yeah, you can do that, right? You need to match this also. So what is the second DID? The other DID?
6 number, we do the fix, right?
Yeah.
6 number fix. Then another group is 4.
Okay, so this many. Let us assume how many digits, how many length is there. One moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 numbers. Okay. So you can do one thing. You can do something like D10. That is like digit 10. Yeah. 10 digits. Okay. Now either or situation. Some users will have this. Oh, that is little complicated. Okay. Some users will have this. Some will not have that. How will I address both?
So it seems like we need to create two expressions.
Yeah, you need to create two expressions because there are two conditions, right? There is one users with this extension field, one is with another one. So two manipulations you have to create and apply.
Okay.
And while matching, it matches either or the other one, right? If I put this condition, only this set of users matches. If I use the other one without extension, that will match. You need to create two.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Cool, guys. So let's quickly summarize and then wind up. So we started today with different type of call flows, and we have seen early offer call flow, message STP being shared on the invite and 200 OK, that is early offer. If it is delayed offer, it will be on the 200 OK and ACK message. That's the major difference between early and delayed. Then early media we have seen there is something called 183 session progress SDP. With that we were able to establish a media even before the actual media. We call it as early media. Then we went through different SIP message components, message SIP request method, and in every request method what are the headers, invite header from to all these headers. The document is available to download, you can get that. We also went through some responses. Then we collected the SIP logs from audio codes SBC, and we also replicated multiple scenarios like call reject scenario, call failure, and then successful call. Okay, so that's it. Tomorrow we're going to discuss about some resume points, PowerShell, and the LinkedIn ideas. That will be the last session. And meanwhile, again, I'll send you a link in the chat today. Please rate my Google page.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, guys. Then see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ajay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.